Hey guys, how you doing? This is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group, and I want to talk about something a little different tonight. Not necessarily directly relating to business, but more to life as a whole. But it can help you in business if you operate in this. I don't want to say principle, man. Just this bit of information that I'm gonna, give to you tonight. And on this Wisdom Wednesday, I'm talking about in a prideful world, be humble, right? And the graphic I used is, two people sitting in the car and they're looking over across the car and the guy's looking back at them, kind of in an exchange where it looked like something could go down, right? Because they're both, I guess, trying to exude, an image of not necessarily toughness, but it looks like something's about to happen. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a friendly exchange, if you will, if you look at the eyes of the people in the picture, right? And part of the reason why I'm making this, man, and kind of deviating from the normal business routine is because there's a lot going on in this world, man, and a lot of people are being hurt. A lot of people are hurting themselves. A lot of people are trying to live up to unrealistic expectations, man. A lot of people are trying to categorize themselves into things that don't necessarily fit them, but it's an image that will yield them, I guess, some sort of success, right, or some sort of notoriety. So they're trying to fit into these molds, man, and things like that. I'm not pointing out anything or anyone in particular, but there are a lot of different titles that we have floating around. You got, I'm a gangster. You got, I'm a tough guy. You got, I'm a billionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm the best business person. I'm an alpha male. I'm a beta. All these different things, man. And all of these things, right? All these titles really kind of put undue pressure. And I'm not saying that if you like to use those titles, and that's fine with me, as long as you understand and that you're people are going to expect you to live up to those titles, man, which is going to um not necessarily, pressure's okay, right? The pressure to perform sometimes brings out the greatness in us, right? We just saw the NBA finals and that was pressure and Giannis performed, right? So we could bring greatness out of pressure. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But there are certain times where we put pressure on ourselves that we don't necessarily need to, right? And what happens is, man, when you start to, get on this camera, man, and speak to the world and say, hey, I'm this or I'm that, people expect you to be that 24/7, 365, right? So let's say you say you're a gangster, right? You're the toughest thing since, walking on the earth. Well, when you go places, right, and you're out and you're with your family and you're with your friends and you're having a nice night and you're not necessarily, in a gangster state of mind, right? Somebody is going to hold you accountable for what you said. And if you're an alpha, right, and you get into a situation where there's another alpha dog in the room, right, and now you guys got to go head up, and it's going to be tough to work together, right, and all these different things. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not knocking anybody, but what I'm saying to you is, in a world that's so prideful, right, where everybody has to be something, and everybody has to beat their chests and big themselves up and be all these great things, I would prefer to be humble. And the reason why is because I would prefer to let my results speak for me. Meaning, it's one thing for me to say I'm a great business person, right? It's one thing for me to be like, yo, I'm the best. I'm putting in the work. I'm doing all these other things, right? And it's another thing for a client to say that. It's another thing for me to say I'm a great husband, right? I love my wife, man. I cook, I do all these things. I'm such a great husband. And it's a whole nother thing for my wife to say that or even agree with that, right? It's one thing for me to say I'm a great father, right? But it's another thing for my kids to agree or say that. And what I mean by that is humility will exalt you. Why? Because it's not like, how do I say this, man? It's not like everywhere you go, you offer a challenge. You're walking in, man, saying, I want to be of service. I want to help you in any way I can. I want to build you up, man. You're the man, right? I'd rather give praise to other people than give it to myself. And it's not because I think praise is such this bad thing, right? But it, like I said, it means more when I'm receiving it from somebody that truly matters or somebody that I truly helped, right? As opposed to me exalting myself, right? And that I have scripture to back that up, right? I'm not telling you something that has not been verified with scripture because of what I believe and who I am, right? I'm not gonna um just put my ideas out there per se. But we live in a very prideful world, man. And what I mean by that, man, and I think, yeah, you could celebrate yourself, right? You could show the good that you've accomplished, and you could have the best information, quote unquote, out there, right? And you could be the best this or the best that. And it's cool for you to believe that and then act accordingly, right? And do the things that will prove that out. But I think there's a better way to do it, man. I think the better way is to just believe it in your heart, right? If that's what you believe, man, and quietly walk that thing out. You'll avoid a lot of headaches. You'll avoid a lot of unnecessary attention. And the attention that come will be the right type of attention. It'll be people that want to help you, people that want to bless you, not necessarily people that want you to prove it, if you will. And like I said, I got some scripture, and I also think, man, from a legacy standpoint, it because again, right, when you're in that box, right, and you don't get a chance to get the mic when you're in that box. When you're in that coffin or that, if you're gonna be cremated, whatever, right, whatever you do, you don't get a chance to have the mic. You don't get a chance to be your own witness as to who you were and what you were, right? So I think to live in that mindset is to try to build people to a point, right? Not necessarily tear yourself down. I'm not saying don't think of yourself as important or valuable, but what I'm saying is be measured. Be measured in the titles you give yourself. Be measured in what you say. Be measured in how you say it, because you wanna be humble, man. Because God exalts the humble, right? And I have some scripture. So we're going to go in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1. It is out of the English Standard Version. And it says, a good name is to be chosen rather than riches, and favor is better than silver and gold. Right? And I'm not saying, giving you these titles or, right, will give you a bad name, but I don't necessarily think it'll give you the name that'll stand the test of time if you walk around constantly boasting about who you are, and what you do. I don't know if that'll necessarily turn into the legacy that most people want, that most people that I talk to really truly want, man. Um, but a good name is to be chosen, right? And a good name simply means a name that actually is what they say they are, and other people can verify that, right? I mean, like for instance, like I said, let's go back to the family thing, right? Or let's take your life as a whole, right? Let's say your job, your family, your church, right? Those are three places where you're probably going to have some enough time, enough exposure, enough intimacy with the people around you to for them to have a valid interpretation of who you are. Instead of me saying it, if those three institutions, my family, my church, and my company, say I am who I say I am, I'm a man that does what he says. I'm a man that's a quality guy. I make quality decisions, right? I do the right thing. I honor my commitments. Those things are to me what makes a good name, not what the millions or whoever on the internet thinks, right? And the way that I cultivate that good name in those places, and I'm not saying those are the only places, but the way I cultivate that is by being humble and just living it out. To me, that's just to me. I'm not saying that there may be other people with better ideas and more degrees and more success, and if that's your logic, then God bless you, man. Do what your thing. I'm just saying, for me, that would be the way that I would go about doing it. And the reason I would go about doing it this way is because my example. And I think it goes back to who are you following, right? We got a lot of different social media platforms where you follow people, right? It's like, hey man, I want to see what's going on in your life because you're that interesting to me, or you're that funny, or it's something about you that makes me want to stay connected to your life story via this social media platform, right? I want to be able to see what you do. I want to hear what you say. I like your ideas, whatever it is, right? So we follow these people. But then they kind of become somewhat of an example to you in some way, shape, form, or fashion when you really think about it. And the ultimate example for me as a believer would be Jesus, right? Because he's the one person that I can read about in this Bible that has done this life perfect, right? Without a mistake, right? Just straight through, great example, great reputation, both here and in the kingdom to come, right? Well, the kingdom he's there, the kingdom to come, right? And if you're not a believer, this is not a not to you necessarily. I'm just saying, but you have examples too, right? And you want a person that has the reputation that you want. You know, that may be a good reputation if you want to do a good reputation, or a bad reputation if that's what you're after, right? But you want to model yourself after somebody. And the person I model myself after would be Christ, right? And Philippians chapter 2, verse 7 kind of teaches me a little bit about how he walked this earth, right? And he said, and it says, but he made himself nothing. In another version, it says he made himself of no reputation, taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men. And that's kind of interesting, man, because while everybody, and I've been trained, and to a certain extent, right up to this point, while everybody's out there trying to build a reputation, you have the guy with the greatest reputation that said, I make myself of no reputation. I'm not really out here trying to gain a reputation. I'm here to serve. And he left a legacy that at least stood 2,000 years, right? I don't, in the beginning there was the word was with God, so he's always been around. But as far as his stint time on this earth, it's over 2,000 years, and he's still one of the most talked about people that ever walked this earth, right? And even more so in my heart, right? As far as what I believe. But he said, I made myself of no reputation. So that's my example. This is the reason why I'm bringing this to you, because the greatest person said I did it this way. And that's what I'm bringing to you. Plus, I think you would really, really, a lot of people talk about, this hater concept. And I think sometimes we home grow our haters, man. We go out there, we give them reasons to hate us. And I'm not saying that's always the case, but it's easy to hate you sometimes. Now, not for me, but I'm saying it's easy to hate when you're constantly telling them how much better you are than they are, to a certain extent. But once again, man, in a prideful world, just try being humble. See where it gets you, man. This is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group on this Wisdom Wednesday. I'll have some more great business tips for you coming up. Y'all be blessed, man. Peace.